Hey guys, Gronk here, and this was my trip to Hawks Head Cave on the Central Coast. So we'll start with the walk-in. This is the first set of sandstone blocks you'll see as you start to drive in. It's pretty hard to miss them. You just kind of pull over on the left, and I'll have a photo of that soon. It's a really beautiful drive-in, by the way. Very scenic. This whole crag has just a lot of great views. So that's where I parked. You can't see the sandstone blocks here, but they're pretty obvious. Very easy walk in. Once you break out to the cliff line, this is what you'll see. Just follow the instructions on the crag. It's pretty hard to get lost. And that's the view into the start of the cave. So this is the first climb I went to try. V5, Mel Gibson's Memorial. And it was the first climb put up here at this crag, and it seemed to set the trend in terms of climb names. There's a real Mel Gibson theme. But hey, he makes great movies, so whatever. So I'd very roughly scoped out the moves on the ground before jumping on, and I was a bit unsure about what to do in the middle section. There's a really big gap between this first rail I've just grabbed now and then the jug rail, which is a bit further on. And I decided to kind of just ming it on this crimp, which is probably a bit too hard for V5. And you can see I paid the price there. Ended up snapping that crimp off. You can see the remains there. That little scoop on the left, that's what we should be going for. And that's what I'll grab in this one. And on this attempt, I found a nice knee bar, which is probably the way that it was meant to be done. It certainly feels much easier. Slot up in there. And it's a bit of a stretch to get underneath, but pretty self-explanatory from here. You can see the pads at the back. When I got dumped on the ground, I didn't expect to fall at that. I thought maybe on this sketchy top out I'd come off, but well, it wasn't too bad of a fall. And there is a jug rail that my left hand is on at the top to help you with the top out. So onto Lethal Weapon, V8, and I would say the highlight of the crag. Really nice climb, good technical climbing. So I've been a consistent climber for really the better part of 13 years, but most of that has been indoor, despite starting outdoor with my parents. And it is a different experience route reading when the holds aren't coloured plastic and sticking out from the wall. So it's a bit of a process to figure out a beta that's going to work. So this was my first attempt, and I go right hand out to the crimp instead of into the undercling, because I wanted to get my left hand into that undercling, but this second toe hook is just not quite good enough. I couldn't keep tension, and I dropped off there. So if I'm going to go right hand into that undercling, I needed to figure out the top. And I ended up doing this hand swap, which initially felt sketchy, but became quite consistent. So second attempt from the bottom now, and I'm going to go right hand into that undercling this time, and just stick with the cut loose. And there is a dab there, it's a little dab on the pad, and that's mainly why I come off. So this was the third attempt and the send, and one small mistake I made on the last attempt was after I stuck the cut, I swung back in with my left foot, and that makes it much harder. It's a lot of tension to hold that position with the right hand in the undercling, and so it's best to just bring the right foot in, and I do that on this attempt. You'll see it here, and the right foot goes back to the wall and the left stays dangling. Much easier than trying to do a foot swap later. Then you just do that swap move under. Feels a bit low percentage, but I caught it there. And then the top out is not too bad. Just kind of take your time. You're on two pretty good holds there. And there it is. That's a Lethal Weapon V8. Great climb. So the next one I tried was Braveheart Direct, which was given V11. And it feels pretty nutty. This was my first attempt here. Both of those left hands are really not that great. So a couple more attempts here. And I did feel more comfortable in the position the more I tried it. but I never really felt close to being able to actually generate with throwing up to the right a decent way to this kind of slot. And yeah, not that day. It might be the kind of thing that you just come back and it feels right, and all of a sudden it's very positive. But it wasn't going to happen today. So this is where I jump up to what you're going for, and it's a pretty positive right hand. Like if you can stick that, I think you'll be right to finish it off. You'll see me just fooling around with the top holds there. That part's all fine. So kind of just a one move V11. So the last climb for the day was this V5, Daddy's home too. Really interesting climb. You kind of start in this alcove of the rock, and it's a blind move up to these two kind of perfect slots. You can see him tick there, and it's quite scary. Like, I mean, none of the movements are particularly difficult, but it's very committing. And you can see these are my failed attempts at the start. I got it on the third go, and I'm just very reluctant to like jump out there. Kind of a indoor comp style problem out on the rock. I should mention I did try one other climb just below where I'm standing now and moving the pad from, called Fat Man, supposed V6/V7, but I think the left hand starting hold is broken off. It's pretty clear there used to be a bit of rock in there, and where there was a crimp there is now a really tiny razor thin crimp, and it seemed kind of impossible just to start the climb. So that's a bummer if that's gone. So this was my successful attempt. And you can see there's a big swing out. You know, you've got to commit to it, but they're good holds. And then you're kind of just slapping across these slopers. Overall, a really fun day and a super beautiful crack. Like the views walking in are amazing. Even the drive in is just really scenic. Would highly recommend. And it's not too far away if you live in Sydney. And you could go for a swim afterward as well. And there is a crack climb down at the beach that I didn't try. I really wish I did, but oh well. I'm thinking about doing these vlog type things a little more regularly, so I would appreciate any feedback anyone has. Just leave a comment down below, let me know. But that's it from me today. Gronk out.